Hello all benders and non-benders. Teeny tiny little disclaimer before the beginning of this video. This one happened to be recorded literally moments before the patch notes for Team Azula came out, and it just hasn't been uploaded since then because I have been busy. So the video is a teeny tiny bit outdated in terms of the timing. I think I do mention it's like, where the heck is Azula? And then a moment later we got the patch notes, so big L on my part there. But the information itself still holds very true, so we're still going to be rolling with it, so enjoy the video. Hello all benders and non-benders, and welcome back to Avatar Generations, and today I'm actually going to be making a video that I've been wanting to make for some time. The content drought continues as we await the much anticipated Azula update. Until then, there are no doubt going to be some new players coming to the game. Azula is popular, to say the least, and I have no doubt that there will be a nice little influx of players to this very fun game when she is released, if there hasn't already been from the teases. So, I felt like now would be a good time to make a mistakes to avoid video. Some pitfalls that I fell in or almost fell in that you as a new player can avoid. If you're an experienced player and you still want to watch, maybe pick up a tip or two every now and then hey, welcome to the video. You can even go down in the comments below if I have missed some things. This is very much going to be me just kind of going off of a list I came up with. I have no doubt that I will miss some details, but we are going to get right into it here. Probably the first and most relevant one that you're going to want to keep track of is taking advantage of Summon Pity and not summoning if you don't have enough for Pity. Now, what do I mean by Summon Pity? When you look at the summoning area here, you'll notice summons until a guaranteed featured content. At the moment I have 140, this one actually started at 200. I've done 60 summons since then. When you get down to 0, you will get a featured 5-star character, plus some other loot sometimes depending on what type of banner it is. In this case, that would be Peace Zuko here. Depending on what you kind of look at here, it could be also some relics, maybe a character and a relic if it's a powerful opponent banner. So there's a few options there. But basically, don't summon unless you have Pity. Basically meaning, in this case, until you had 200 summons, so that if you have bad luck, you can take it all the way to the end. If you have good luck, great, wonderful. You just saved yourself some summons. If you don't have good luck and you go all the way to Pity, you'll be glad you had those resources. What we're really trying to avoid here, you're really trying to avoid summoning, not reaching Pity, and not being able to reach Pity before the banner leaves, because then all those event wishes are just, or event summons rather, are just gone. Just into the ether. They never to return. Those resources are basically wasted. We do not want to waste resources because, gacha games, how they be, you want to be as efficient as possible. So that's probably one of the biggest tips I can give on the summons. Make sure you have Pity. Now, I've kind of gone back and forth on this one a little bit when it comes to summoning on relics and supports. Now, just a reminder here that supports are kind of like the animal companions, basically. Those can give boosts to your team, and you can also equip them onto your character for stats. Those are supports. And then relics are items you can equip on characters to give them both stats and unique abilities depending on the relic. In the past, I have often said that relics are meant to be more of a luxury, but they're very quickly becoming a necessity if you want to have any chance in the meta, because relics went from a little bit of extra sauce on a character for the fun of it to being downright meta changing. The Warden's Tower being an obvious example of one that really just turned the meta all the way on its head. So, what I'm going to say as far as relics go is use caution on them. Not all relics are good, and some relics are busted. However, sometimes you can get free-to-play relics. They do have occasional 5-star relics that you can get free to play. So while I'm not going to necessarily say don't summon for relics, that would be a little hypocritical of me to say, don't go crazy unless, first of all, you have resources that you're willing to burn, and that the relic really is that level of game breaking. You kind of got to use some discretion there. For a newer player, I would definitely say don't worry about relics. Once you get a little more experience though, and you can kind of gauge what the meta feels like in the moment, what works for you, then you can kind of use your own discretion. But for an early player, I'd say maybe hold off on going too crazy on relics and summons, at least in the beginning. Now, the last tip I want to recommend here for summons is take advantage of your rerolls. Now, when the game first came out, you could get a free 5-star ticket. I forget if that's still the case. I would assume it is. I'd be shocked if it wasn't. But assuming you do get that 5-star ticket, you will actually be able to summon on one of these characters here. It's a guaranteed 5-star, and you get a 5-star from this list. Do your research beforehand. Check out one of my videos that's basically a tier list of these characters, or go to the Avatar Generations database. I will actually link that in the description below. It is an extremely good resource with its own tier list as well. Our tier lists differ a little bit, and then sometimes they're also alike, but the database is an exceptional resource you can access at any time. Nice little fan-made thing, and kind of use that to judge which character in here you want. Once you've done that, reset your account every time you don't get the character you want or one of the characters you want. What I mean by that, start at the game, do not create an account. Use your ticket. If you get the character you want, fantastic, you're good. If you don't, delete all the data from your app. That will effectively reboot your game. Go through all the beginner stuff like normal, do the summon again, and then if you get the character you wanted, then you can create your account and make it official and all that jazz. When I started my game, I went for Avatar State Aang. He's gotten a little bit of a glow up actually, but at the time, he was not that great. I just thought, me being new to the game, not knowing a dang thing, I just thought he's like, oh, well, it's Avatar State Aang. Of course he's going to be strong. And for the early game, I guess technically yes, but I could have made some better picks. So just kind of giving that little bit of advice to new players, be careful who you pick. Now, that's kind of the advice on the summons. Now let's talk about what you should actually do in your day-to-day. First of all, always make sure you are doing your paths to get adventure points. Adventure points are going to be these little green and yellow points here. These are very important because they're actually used in a lot of things. You can get powerful opponent tickets, you can get regular event tickets, you can even get Peace Chaos tickets, which are dramatically more rare, as well as using them for certain items, certain event art sets, and even more than that. You want to be able to do this every day. If you'll notice, what I did here is I walked my character here, and now that is no longer lit up. When it is lit up like this, that means there are points to be gained. So I'm just going to have Aang here, walk the path there, and then I will be able to collect those rewards. You do not want to miss out on those. They are very, very helpful. I do have a bit of a surplus, but that's because I have been saving them for a nice little while. You can, when the day comes, you can absolutely burn them in a hurry. So that's kind of something important to keep in mind there. Also, especially early game, you'll see a lot of the missions here. Probably the most important one to do would be doing your pirate domains. What these do basically is these are the specifically gold missions. When I first started out, I was down bad for gold. Training scrolls weren't so bad, actually. The items you get that is basically the currency to level up your characters, that one I wasn't so bad on. The gold, though, the gold was rough. Once you start getting stage 5, you can be doing that every single day, and you can get the gold that you need. Also, do not neglect the boss battles. These things are very, very helpful. To give kind of a brief low ranking here, Invader Zuko and Avatar State Aang are pretty easy. The Unagi can be pretty difficult depending on your characters, and then King Boomy can be quite difficult. The reason I'm saying you want to get these, though, is they have boss currency, or kind of an in general boss currency, and then a character-specific boss currency that will get you very important rewards and even summon tickets, so you do not want to sleep on these. Also, and they don't advertise this one, but each mission here, from the pirate domain, boss fights, arts expeditions, etc., you can get up to 3 stars on a mission. What they don't tell you is that each star, the first time you get it, gives you 25 nature stones, the main currency of the game. So it's a high motivation to 3-star. Not only can you do the skip tickets on a lot of the main missions here, but you can get 75 nature stones per mission if you do 3-star it. That adds up in a hurry, so don't miss that one. So that's kind of what you want to do for that. Now, speaking of arts expeditions, this is going to be a very big time do as I say and not as I do situation. But I'm going to highly recommend to not try to create an art set for every single character. Now, what I mean by that, if you try to create an art set for every single character, not only will it take an actual ton of energy, but it also really, really fills up your inventory. And I don't know about you guys, but I can get pretty hung up on getting a good art set. Just a reminder here that the arts are basically mods, artifacts, maybe if you played some past games before, artifact items that you can equip onto your characters to boost them up. In this game, they're called arts. Maybe go for just a few sets, like you have a few good attack sets, have a few good defense sets, have a few good speed sets, of course have your event sets. Until you really get into the game and kind of get your footing, you don't need to go too crazy. Now, hey, once you get more experience and you know exactly what you're looking for, and you kind of get good with your energy management, then you can start really going a little crazy if you want. But especially if you're starting out, don't stress yourself over the art too much. Also, don't worry too much about getting these 4-star relics, or arts rather. The 3-star ones will certainly get the job done for you. The 4 stars will come with time as you do boss battles and as you do the stage 6 missions of the arts expeditions. Me, I pretty much went whole hog into it immediately. Slightly to some regret. I mean, it worked out in the long run. I do have some decent stuff here. But that was not easy. So that's just going to kind of be something to keep in mind there, is you don't have to focus on that too much. Now, what should you focus on? You should focus on upgrading your characters. And I'm going to say upgrade certain characters, specifically the main characters. When I say main characters, I mean Aang, Katara, Sokka, and Zuko. The reason I say that is that most of those characters are going to be used in the story missions. And you do want to go through the story missions because not only is that a good way to get loot, but the more you go through your story missions, the more zones you unlock, which you do need nature points to unlock. So again, the more areas you unlock, the more adventure points you can start earning every day, and then you put those adventure points towards unlocking more areas. It's a nice little cycle, but that cycle grinds to a halt if you forget to actually upgrade the main characters. Katara, Aang, Sokka, Zuko, characters like that. Don't forget about them, because if you do, then your story progress is going to suffer a little bit. Speaking of that, and again, this is kind of a do as I say, not as I do situation. You can upgrade your levels using these training scrolls and using gold. However, when you're a little short on that, you're a new player, you haven't been able to do the missions, when you're running short on that, you do get XP just from doing battles. Use that to get the majority of your levels, especially when you're earlier on, getting from 1 to 10 and then 10 to 20, kind of those lower marks. You can actually get a good chunk of the way just from battling. You don't necessarily need to use training scrolls until you get to the point where it's like, okay, I'm doing these missions regularly and I don't have any shortages. Early on, you will find yourself having a hard time keeping up with training all of your new characters. So it's kind of a nice little idea, especially when you start unlocking the ability to just use skip tickets. That's a good way to level up on the cheap. It takes a little bit longer, it's not nearly as instantaneous as I would like, but it does get the job done, and it's a good way to kind of mitigate some resource management issues early on. Now then, probably the last thing that I'm going to specifically call out here, make sure to get your freebies from the shop. For example, I need to claim my energy here. That's an extra 60 energy for free. Every single day, you get a freebie item in the featured thing. Sometimes it's a small amount of gold or training scrolls or anything like that, but sometimes it's even nature stones, so you really don't want to miss out on that. Next, every single week, make sure you're checking the adventure tab here, because you can get summon tickets with adventure points. Make sure you're checking boss battles, because you can, once again, get those all-important summon tickets. And also, once you do kind of get to a point where you get good at it, this is a little more of an advanced thing, but also don't forget to check the arena shop, because once again, you can get summon tickets every single week. So that's kind of just something to keep in mind there. Now, once again, if you look down in the comments, hopefully some more experienced players can add some tips down there if they have not already. Also take advantage of the resources, things like the tier lists that are available. Also the Discord, the official Avatar Generations Discord is very helpful. I believe if you just Google it, you can find it. That can actually be a very good resource. There's quite a lot of players in there, as well as plenty of official channels for discussing strategies, getting some assistance, and even getting some news. So that is all we have for today. Let me know down below if you found this video helpful. Like I said, this is very much for the newer players, but maybe some more experienced players even got something out of this as well. And that is all we have for today. Hopefully Azula will come soon. I'm suffering over here, man. I'm suffering. I am suffering. But yeah, so until next time, we shall see you next time. Have a good one.